Hey friends, and welcome to the Great Debate. I'm not kidding, this might well be the most polarizing issue facing Bend real estate. We hear from every client that reaches out to us. Now, it's not always an issue of which side is better, east side versus west side, but it always gets brought up. And when it's brought up by locals, it's usually with quite a bit of passion. I mean, I've heard comments from people that were downright rude and actually quite nasty, that I wouldn't even want to work with them because of their view of one side or the other. I mean, I cannot believe it sometimes. So let's smile, be kind, and talk about it. Okay, so in every community, there's some kind of divider line, right? Maybe they're boroughs, or maybe they're just particular neighborhoods or just sides of town. In this instance, it's Highway 97, AKA 3rd Street. It used to be one and the same, and now it's not because we have the Parkway. Point is, that's the dividing line, east side versus west side. So what makes the east versus west side debate so polarizing? Honestly, it's preference and perspective. So we're gonna go ahead and break down a couple of key subjects to really get to the bottom of this. The first thing we're talking about are amenities. Now, this is a big one for most people. And there are a bunch of amenities that the west side has that are spectacular, that the east side just can't even hang with. But probably the most notable one, the one that we hear most often, which is funny, aside from everything else that we're about to talk about, is just the access to trails. For whether it be biking or if it's, hiking, walking, running, just access to trails in general. People just want to be close to trails. And I can't argue that that's a pretty special amenity. And in fact, it's probably lost on me a little bit because I'm so used to living here now, been here for so long, that I probably underrate it because I'm used to it. But it is a really special amenity. I mean, just to be able to literally leave from your house and either literally right out of your house, hit a trail, or at least walk within 5 or 10 minutes and get access to a trail that you can hike or bike is an incredible thing to be able to do here. Not only that, but you're also so much closer to the Cascade Lakes Highway, and thus basically effectively closer to the mountain and closer to the Deschutes National Forest. Okay, but I do have to talk about the other amenities though, because there's numerous ones. Downtown is on the west side. The old Mill District is on the west side. Hayden Amphitheater, west side. Heck, even the Deschutes River, really, it's also on the west side of town. If you want to hike Pilot Butte, or if you need to go to the hospital, that's east side. East side can't even claim Costco anymore because it's getting ready to move to the north side. But it is absolutely important to understand that if you live on the east side and you need to get to the west side, the commute is really almost nothing. It only adds a few minutes to your commute. It's not like 20 minutes. I used to live in a big city, and yes, just to get from one side of town to the other could, take a half an hour. It's not like that here at all. It's really 5 to 10 minutes. You can zip from one side of town to the other, east side to west side, or vice versa. Easy peasy. But I will say the west side totally wins this category. Next up, we're gonna talk about landscape. What I mean is we're kind of on a line, and the west side of Bend is basically along the eastern slopes of the Cascade mountain range. So it's very forested with lots of tall pine trees, lots of tall ponderosa trees. The east side of town is very high desert. It transitions to the high desert where there's juniper trees and there's sagebrush, and it's deserty like that. Now, that's not to say that there aren't junipers on the west side and that there aren't ponderosas on the east side. I'm just saying that for the most part, west side's more forested, east side's more desert. Now, most people like that forested feel. Large trees casting the big shadows. It really makes you feel like you're in a mountain town, right? I like it. I love that forested feel. Love to feel like I'm in the woods, like a cottage. It's a great feeling to have. The east side, however, does come with its own set of advantages, however. Full of junipers and sagebrush, it's technically at a lower elevation. So what's really interesting is when it snows, less snow actually accumulates on the east side of town. So you could have 4 inches of snow on the east side of town, for example, drive 5 to 7 minutes to the west side, and there's 7 inches of snow on the ground. Oh, and another thing, I do still really like that western feel of the east side, right? Kind of like sagebrush and junipers. I mean, I love the smell of sage and junipers when it rains. It's a thing. So again, to each their own. You got East Side Desert and you got West Side Forest. What's it gonna be? Affordability. Now, it might be a little early on in this video to just be going straight at the meat and bones of most of this, but hey, we're gonna take it straight on. Affordability is a huge issue here right now. Look, quite simply, because of a couple of the reasons that I've already kind of brought up in this video, there's far more desirability to live on the west side. And, builders quickly figured that out long ago, and as a result began building nicer, higher quality homes over on that west side. Therefore, west side real estate is far more expensive than east side. The homes are typically a little bigger, a little nicer, maybe more well built. We've got a lot of custom homes, semi-custom homes on the west side. Some of the most desirable neighborhoods in all of Central Oregon are all on the west side. I mean, Broken Top, Northwest Crossing, Tethero, Discovery West, the list goes on and on. These are all premium neighborhoods. These all offer that incredible trail access, super quality built homes by the area's premier builders, and also come with a pretty steep price tag. Now, I am generalizing here, but the east side is usually home to more, production style, maybe tract style built homes, builders, neighborhoods, that sort of thing. Homes are cheaper, maybe built with some, cheaper materials. Instead of lap siding, they use T111, and sometimes they're even a little smaller, but hey, way more affordable. Again, these are big, broad brushstrokes, because really it's not one size fits all. You can grab really amazing, high quality homes on the east side, and then also sometimes you can find really small, kind of, not so well built homes on the west side. But in general, that's the story. Okay, so just for fun, I pulled some numbers. The average sale price of a home on the east side over the past year, 365 days, is $685,000. This is everything that sold on the east side in the last year. Conversely, everything that sold on the west side of town over the past year equates to an average sales price of $1,069,000. How about that, huh? Okay, now you're totally gonna wanna hear the rest of this, but before we move on, hi, we're the Kromm Real Estate Team, and we provide tons of content to be valuable for you. We talk about everything from recreation to real estate. So if you or someone you know is looking to buy or sell in the area, my team and I would love to be your real estate resource of choice. Be sure to hit the subscribe button and the little bell notification, and reach out when you're ready to talk. We'd love to hear from you. Okay, back to it. Views. Here's where things get really testy. This is where the gloves come off. We're talking about views here. Nah, I'm kidding. The debate is totally settled. You're not gonna believe this. At least I don't think. Okay, I'll just start off with saying, in my opinion, the east side has better views. It's funny, a lot of times, in a lot of locations on the west side, you don't really have any views. The trees are too tall, and the topography, like Overturf Butte is in the way, or Aubrey Butte's in the way. Now, if you live on Overturf Butte or on Aubrey Butte, that's a different story. You win. You've got the best views. But for the most part, I find that the east side truly does have, more volume, if you will. You can see the mountains kind of from further back, from more streets, from more areas, from more backyards. I think that you've got better and more volume of mountain views from the east side. In either case, whether you live on the east side or the west side, the mountain views in Bend are truly special. You're not gonna ever get tired of seeing them. Day in, day out, you just look to the west and you've got those beautiful mountains staring at you every single day. Well, almost every day, unless there's a storm rolling in, they're covered by clouds. But for the most part, you just don't get tired of seeing them. It's truly such a special thing we have here. Puts you in a good mood every time you look at them. The future. The future, whoa, that's kind of heavy, Doc. But the future really is a fun topic that I like to ponder. There are a lot of changes happening right now, and these changes are gonna impact the way the city looks and feels for decades to come. Density is something that the state and the city are pushing hard on right now. They want more density. This will force a lot of mixed use together, like condos and office space and retail space, so that you can live, work, shop, play, all within walking distance, so that ultimately you don't have to drive. Because this is all long-range greenhouse gas reducing ambitions, and most of these proposed areas are on the west side, but believe it or not, some are also on the east side. The problem is that we desperately need housing now, and fast. And the easiest way to get housing built quicker is by opening up more land to, more of that single family residence, tract style housing neighborhood, typical suburb neighborhood. Now this would almost certainly take place on the east side because the west side is effectively landlocked. We've developed as far west as we can and now we're blocked by the national forests. And so the state is also grasping at these affordability challenges because we need housing. And they're trying to figure out how to help us get shovel-ready dirt sooner than later as well. So who's gonna win? Sprawling neighborhoods on the east side or urban density on the westish side? Or maybe it's gonna be a bit of both. What we do know is Bend is proving to become more and more popular every single year, and more people want to move here. It's frequently landing on plenty of publications, top places to live, sections, articles. So the expansion of Bend will only continue. Another future-proofing project is the Bend North Intercept. We finally have an actual overpass, sort of like a freeway-esque type thing, sort of. It's not finished yet, but it should be wrapping up by the end of 2024, depending on when you're seeing this, so that'll be kind of fun. We're so grown up. Wild card. Okay, last but certainly not least is kind of a wild card round. Now this is where I just kind of like to put my opinions out there as to what I think about the difference between the east and the west side. Maybe some things in here we haven't covered before. East side versus west side. Sheesh. Personally, this is an individual choice. I do not believe there is a right answer. I mean, you can get a really great house in a really great neighborhood on the east side of town for a nice price point and still, just commute and drive 5 to 7 to maybe 10 minutes over to the west side for whatever you need over there, right? Or heck, you could still even ride your bike because we're really that close. And Bend is a very bike-friendly town. But again, there is something pretty magical about some of those, west side master plan developments where you can, walk down to the coffee shop and have lunch with your friend, around the corner from your house, and then still walk to pick the kids up from school, and you're all within a few hundred yards away. It's pretty special. And I also think that the west side can kind of be a bit of a tourist trap because of all the amenities that are over there. I mean, they can be so busy sometimes. The east side is far less congested, easier to get around, it's quieter, maybe not quite as aesthetically pleasing. I do, however, think that both sides have an amazing sense of community. It almost doesn't matter what neighborhood you're in. Community is something that Bend is really big on, and it's a special value that we have here in town. There's a classic bumper sticker that says, "Be nice, you're in Bend." And that, like I said, is a value that most people truly stand behind. All right, that's it. I'm just gonna leave it there for now. We can pick this up in another video. Hey, don't forget, no matter what side of town you wanna live on or what side of town you do live on, our team handles it all. So if you or somebody you know is looking to buy or sell in the area, my team and I would love to be your real estate resource of choice. Hit us up at KrommRealEstate.com, or you can probably stalk us down in the description of this video and find our contact information. Thanks so much for watching, and if you want to know more about the Bend area or just Central Oregon living in general, you can check out this playlist right over here. And then again, if you just want to, catch us on our next video, whatever's suggested, we'll see you over here in this video. Thanks, we'll see you next time.